and better decision-making support. He is a mechanical engineer from Mumbai University and MBA from NIT-IE Mumbai. Welcome both of you. I request now Mr. Girija Shankar to deliver the theme address. Thank you so much. Over to Mr. Girija.
Thank you, Dr. Vanu, and welcome to all the participants, panelists, and we look forward to having a interactive, engaging session to think about the theme of the returnable packaging. And thank you, Dr. Banu, for taking the lead in bringing such an innovative idea to the table and creating a theme around it, because I think this is one of those ideas whose time has come, and not just for the green quotient of it, that goes without saying, but also because we've seen in last close to 4 or 5 years, we've been dabbling in this area, if I may use that word, that there is a significant value unlocking that organizations are able to do when they look at their packaging needs holistically with a TCO view, rather than taking a transactional piece by piece perspective. And the moment you start therefore looking at what is the packaging need, what purpose it serves, how do we ensure that the packaging is robust, it protects our parts, particularly when the parts are expensive or are prone to damages. How do we ensure that that packaging is able to help me improve utilization of my bins, of my trucks and things like that? And how do I ensure that that packaging assets that I have created or bought or rented are able to be reused, so that I don't end up just adding to the carbon footprint or adding to the supply chain complexity for my organization. When the organizations start to look at the problems in this manner, we found that across variety of needs in production supply chain, needs in fulfillment supply chain, needs in plant to plant transfers, needs within the plant management or a warehouse management, we are able to create packaging assets and capabilities that are very, very tangible, creative to the organization's value, both in terms of giving benefit, like times in terms of, let's say, reduction in parts breakages or their damages, at times in improvement of utilizations of space that is being there, storage space or transit space, and at times in purely just optimizing the cost of operations, because the same part or same packaging asset is used again and again, and therefore over a period of time the ROI tends to be good. We would like to probably have exchange of thoughts and hear from all the participants and panelists here on what is the thoughts, what areas and segments they believe that packaging assets are becoming more amenable to a returnable kind of a conversation from what we typically call as expendable ones, and look forward to understanding and expanding our own knowledge in that particular space, and hope to for an interactive session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Girija. I request Akash to chair the session.
Thank you, Dr. Bhanunadi, and thank you, Girija, for those perspectives ahead of the panel discussion. Is my voice audible? At the outset, let me thank CII and the department. This is hello.
Yeah, only now you're audible, Mr. Akash.
Is it better now?
Yes, audible.
So what I was saying was it's a very relevant topic. We know that the climate change accord has again come to surface globally. And in fact, the onward change. Can you hear me? Is it?
There is a frequent disturbance. Now you're audible. We are able to hear you. Again, it's gone. There is some issue. It's going on mute.
Hello?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, let me try and keep this short. So I'll just introduce the panelists on the call. It's a very esteemed set of panelists on the call that we have today. We have with us Mr. S. Srinivas, who's the head of manufacturing from Mahindra Reva Electric. He carries with him 30 years of rich experience across operations. And now in the field of EV, he's worked as a Six Sigma facilitator, lean manufacturing expert, and is experienced in the high volume manufacturing environment. Supporting him, we have Mr. Atul Devkar. Mr. Atul Devkar heads logistics for Endurance Technologies, and he's worked at various roles, right from taxation, logistics, warehouse and inventory management, has over 30 years of experience. So he's also well versed with aspects of systems and process controls, decision making, and has set up logistics operations in more than 10 warehouses. So welcome, Atul. We have Jayaprakash Loganathan, who's the head of logistics from JK Fenner. He is a strategic architect with over 17 years of experience in setting up logistics operations, purchase, supply chain management, export, import, material planning, foreign trade policy. So a host of dimensions across supply chain he has covered in his career. We also have with us Sunil Bansal. Sunil is the head of business development from the packaging section of TVS Supply Chain Solutions, and he carries with him 13 years of experience in business development, revenue generation, client servicing, and so forth. He, over the past few years, he's been focusing and heading the packaging business development function for TVS. So this is a rich panel, and extremely delighted to be a part of this and moderating this esteemed panel. Before we begin with the panel discussions, a few important perspectives on the topic itself. You're well aware that climate change and associated issues around zero emissions is starting to gain a lot of noise in our environment, in fact, a lot of the policies and laws over the next decade will get formulated around companies trying to be zero emissions compliant. And that is where today's topic fits in extremely well, because packaging is traditionally known to be a guzzler of fossil fuels, whether it's plastics, whether it's paper, whether it's glass, with the kind of energy that it consumes to make. So all of the key raw materials and the process of making packaging itself is right now fossil fuel dependent. And as an industry, one will need to rethink, what is one doing. In the meanwhile, we are all consumers of packaging. Till about a decade or two back, when we had our filter coffees, we used to have it in stainless steel glasses, or we had our tea on a roadside, we used to have it in earthen potware, till Cafe Coffee Day came along, or McDonald's came along, and we added this insurmountable packaging load to our everyday life, right? So with all that now, the life is coming a full circle. And, we are talking now what is called a circular economy. We are talking about reusable packaging, returnable packaging, and so forth. Incidentally, one of the largest consumers of packaging globally is Amazon, right? We are all well versed with Amazon. And it will be, quite heartening for you to know that Amazon has reduced its packing weight, the weight of the corrugated box or the internal stuffing, by over 35% per shipment in the last 3 years. So they have this incessant, a focus on controlling the amount of packaging they are actually churning out. And they have eliminated almost 1 million tons of packaging in their entire supply chain. Again, one of the interesting parts now, packaging is becoming more strategic. Earlier, it used to be just safety, and then it was about cost, right? Now it is about brands. It is also about track and trace, because now you have the QR code, you have the RFID, and so forth, right? So the whole topic of packaging is going beyond just cost to now, how can it be the brand? How can it take custody of the brand, of the product inside, as well as aspects around supply chain, which is support and track and trace and so forth. So given that, and given the multiple stakeholders, right? You have the converters, the suppliers, the equipment manufacturers of the packaging machines. You have the packaging design agencies. You have the brand owners, the logistic service providers, the regulatory agencies. So packaging is a complex topic, okay? And with that, the need for us to become, like Girija said at the start, to become more sustainable, to reduce our carbon footprint. Let's see how this panel unfolds over the next 45 minutes or so. I would like to hand over to each of the panel members for their opening comments. If you can take 2 to 3 minutes for your opening comments, each one of you, and then after that we'll get into a discussion, and the audience is free to write in the chat box in terms of their questions, and we will take it as and when it comes. So with that, I hand over to Mr. Srinivas from Mahindra Electric for your views on the topic of sustainable packaging.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much from my side, especially for the CA, for giving me an opportunity for share my experiences. And Srivastav really delighted us how it is a complicated packaging in the packaging. In my 30 years of experience, really packaging is a packaging. I am lucky to work in all the departments, from production, projects, most implementation. But when I handling the suppliers, now what happened now, the new trends is coming. Srivastav explained, not only for the safety, now it is coming. Earlier we have a cost conscious. Now after cost conscious, what happened? The branding is coming now. Branding is more popular and more prominent, and lot of legislative actives. Government is coming with so much of trends. So what happened? Earlier if we go back earlier to 5 to 10 years, the packaging is not much important. Now the packaging itself, it is a very key aspect for the OEMs, not only OEMs. If you go for any industry, earlier we don't have a concept of reuse of the packages. For example, earlier we have a dedicated pallets in OEM. We used to metallic pallets. Then we switch out to corrugated boxes. When we switch out to corrugated boxes, now it is weight and cost is a play. The reliability and the reusage of the product is very minimal. Then we switch out to PP boxes. When we move to the PP boxes, again, the weight and the safety of the parts, damages, so many complications are coming. So the package, not only packages, the space constraint. For example, one more new concept comes, customization. The customization of packages, when you go for the customization, again, part-to-part variation is there. For example, OEM is handling for 300, 400, 1,000, 5,000 parts. Customization is a more critical aspect of the packaging. So if you go for, I work in Mahindra, Piaggio, Ashok Leyland. So one more thing is a space constraint. For example, some of the companies operating in the cities, for example, we are in Mahindra Electrical, is in Bangalore. The cost of the space is very high. So earlier the concept of supplier is depends and the OEMs agreed with the MOQ. The MOQ is a game changer now. If you go for MOQ of the suppliers, my space utilization, cost per square feet, and my packages. If you go back to earlier 10 years to 5 years, the space is not constant. And there is a concept of storage location is different, line side is different. So in Mahindra Electrical, we brought a new concept to integrate the line with the storage. I think this is the first time in OEM in India, we brought a new concept of the line itself is a store. So by that, what happened? We reduce the space, the optimization of the space, and the movement of the parts. For example, in OEM, normally the store is away from the line, and from the line to store, bringing lot of movements, all those things are there. So many new trends are coming in the industry, and it is a competitive, it is a price. Whatever we are putting in the operation, everything is calculated. So this is from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Srinivas. Over to Mr. Bansal. Mr. Bansal has a presentation for us, and he will talk to us about the trends on this topic.
Thanks, Akash. I'm just let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes.
Few charts. For today's topic of B2B sustainable packaging, I've just put some charts. So basically, I'm going to talk about the brief details about the design, solution, and the benefits in business segments. The snapshot of standard products which are available for immediate use. I mean, no customization, only with the terms of damages and inserts can be used. Certain case studies which has benefited the different industries and different segments, and certain tools like for asset management and traceability. To start with, for design and asset solutions, we have three categories where we say the value delivery solutions and service offerings. So if you talk about the value delivery, we have value delivery in terms of transport efficiency, in terms of sustainable packing, and as everybody echoed, the damages to be negligible. And there are certain steps which we need to do it with respect to the solutions. There are certain direct contract packaging which is available. Then we have packaging solutions where you need to track and repair. And then you have end-to-end management where the transportation and the forward transportation and the reverse transportation and the so basically, if I add the three components with respect to the packaging assets, then the tracking and the transportation, the total ROI for the system or for the client or for the company improves. So that is, I mean, that is the gist where we have to go for the packaging. If I talk about, there are 26 products that are immediately available. These are reusable bulk container, foldable fluid container, foldable large container for the material use, and you have sleeves, you have PLSs, you have aerated containers. All those types of products are available. These are generally sized from 800 mm into 1000 mm, 1000 mm into 1200 mm, 800 into 1200. Different sizes comes, and customization for metals and others is also available. Then for one-time use bulk containers, you always have nailless packaging boxes, you have pallet collars, you have PP boxes, you have boxes to manage the over-dimensional cargoes. And definitely the reusable tonnages are very much required because you can have multi-layers in the packaging boxes to contain the different parts. So you have different types of partitions. You have PP enabled, you have foam, you have thermoform, you have fabric partitions and others. So if we talk about like everybody echoed, what are the benefits? So benefits, there are benefits in terms of cost impact. There are in terms of energy and environment, as Akash stated in the his initial remarks that yes, energy and environment is one of the focus, and then organization impact. If I talk about concept or cost impact, so what all we need to see. So in terms of cost, definitely there is an improvement in a vehicle utilization and the pack density. So your transportation cost gets reduced. Then damage elimination through component level, like you pack the, you design the packaging at a component level so that your two parts are not touching each other and they are safely. So you have layer boards and you have inserts to protect your parts. So part-to-part damage is not there, and packaging asset is also protecting. Then the handling is optimized. So a lot of non-palletized loads can be palletized and can be handled better. And when you have this collapsible packaging, it generally works between 1:3 ratio or 1:4 ratio. So your return logistics cost is also less. Plus, your if you talk about in terms of energy and environment, you are removing and disposing the expendable packaging out of this. So you are moving to the green supply chain concept. If I talk about the reduction in the transportation and others, so definitely your fuel consumption and is also reducing, which is also an eco-friendly thing. And the storage, so you certain ground plus 2, ground plus 3, based on the storage part. So currently the ground storage also and the warehouse storage also improves. So the warehouse looks and the storage is dimensional, like 100 mm and 1200 mm if you are using a set. So you have a dedicated space for that. So the warehouse space also becomes eco-friendly. And in terms of organization impacts, yes, your quality of logistics is improving. You have improved satisfaction because you have less defects. So all those supporting your supply chain. And solution, there are three kind of services and solution which we have broken into. So there are packaging products. As I talked about, there are standard packing products which can go on rental or they can be bought out and to be used. Then you have value added packaging where how the value addition is happened based on the pack density improvement. Like we just heard about that the pack density and the MOQ. The MOQ is well defined along with the packaging assets when it gets packed. So that kind of value added services in the packaging is also one of the products. And then when you are checking it through the layer boards and the inserts, your damage reduction, because you are using foam, you are using PP partitions based on the material you are using it. And your pilferages are coming low because you know that in your one FLC or in your one PLS or in your one FMC, how many parts to be there. That's very easy. And damages, the industry, it's difficult. Even in 1 to 2% of damages, you have to send a return. So the sending a replacement cost is very higher for those damages. So that headache is also going into going out of the box because of this. And then we have added another segment along with the value added where there is a IoT packaging solution. So what is Internet of Things? You have a UIDs attached to the part, and then you can track the part and the asset. It's attached to the asset, and you can track it throughout the supply chain anywhere. In the further presentation, I've added one or two snapshots where I can show you that how the visibility, the live visibility of the assets and the parts can be there, and how it is helping the companies and the organizations to trace their material at a faster pace. So in terms of TPS, we work in this segment. We deliver sustainable integrated solutions. We have standard products, we have value-added packaging solutions, and we have IoT. The segments are available. I've just given a snapshot here to tell everybody. There are better pack density related solutions. There are storage and truck space optimization related solutions. There are pilferage elimination solution, and we will see case studies where we have I have put certain notes that how the industry has got benefited out of it. So I've just added one snapshot how different products or different solution gets benefited, as I was talking about. So these are live industry examples where industry has started using and they are getting benefit out of it. So whether it's a OEM, either it's a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, engineering segment, automotive segment, it is in the trend, and everybody is using it. And like you talked about the MOQ and the pilferages, it's all protected here. This is one of the snapshot industry segment wise I've mentioned that how the benefits. So it's based on the actual data that what kind of solution, whether it's a contract packaging solution or an inbound movement related packaging solutions or storage based solutions, different segments have got different benefits. So there is an improvement in vehicle utilization. There are defect free packing. There is an improvement in truck fill rate, reduction in overall logistics costs, reduction in expendable packaging, damages are getting lowered. So you have a better visibility of the materials and the assets in the system. And the products are available which can be used for 3 year, 5 year, and your packaging headache reduces a lot in terms of expendable packaging if you're using. I was talking about track and visibility. So there are tools and techniques which are used so that you can totally, you can plan the UIDs, you can attach the UIDs. I'll just in the next slide, I'll show the snapshot. Like you have the visibility through the supply chain at each node or in transit or in repair or maintenance or in the idle condition. Where is your asset? You can track completely. So with the optimization and the introduction of IT support, the packaging things are improving and the visibility is also improving. So I'll quickly take one or two case studies where we talked about the problem statement, basically about the damages, handling time, and the packaging cost. There are solutions with respect to the foldable lid containers, and there are solutions available like foldable lid containers, layer boards, and the PP inserts. You can see that, I mean, in the data part, the damage control went from 0.5% to 0.01%. And these are the direct tangible benefits. Then the handling time gets reduced. Like there were around 10,000 pieces that you have to unload in a corrugated boxes, but that 10,000 pieces got shifted to 400 per box. So now you have to unload only the 32 odd FLCs. So when you unload those, and that too with the help of forklift. So manual labor to forklift automation, automated, forklift based unloading you have gone to. The time reduction on these efforts is totally drastic. And then the packaging cost also gets improved because you are getting rid of packaging, plus the environmental factors are there. And the damage, as this containers, different products are used for different segments. So if I talk about this particular case, the plastic of the or the material of the FLC was such a very strong, where there is no impact to the parts, and there is no part-to-part touch because of the inserts. So definitely the damages were reduced drastically. So packaging in terms of different parts. So either it's the smaller parts or the bigger parts. Different solutions, different products can match that. So in terms of BIW parts, there are also different packaging solutions are available, and that can definitely reduce damage, plus the utilization of vehicle utilization. I mean, the one of the challenge we have seen in industry, the vehicle utilization in terms of moving the BIW parts, and with packaging where the stackable assets are there, this has been addressed. In terms of truck fill ratio, when you enter once, this is one example of engines where there is a storage of roughly around 190 engines were there in the 132 feet truck in the corrugated boxes, but when it got packed, definitely the stackability of the assets 1+1, because 1+1 2 meter height you are taking in the truck, and you're utilizing the entire space up to 90% of the volume utilization along with the weight utilization. So this also gives you the benefit. So there are different segments, different requirements, all can be met through different project solutions. So, I think I'll end here with the limited time. Over to you, Akash.
Thank you, Sunil, for that very comprehensive presentation. And having worked in some of these environments, moving from unstacked to corrugated and to stacked definitely has an impact on sustainability and lesser fuel consumption. With this, I would like Mr. Atul Deodikar to come in. He is head of logistics from Endurance, and he will speak on cost impact on efficient packaging and the operational issues that are involved in implementing some of these solutions.
Good evening to all. Thank you, Akash. I would like to give some different aspect on the cost effectiveness in the packaging. So whenever we are getting quote from market, we are comparing apple to apple, but there are so many hidden benefits for the any packaging solutions. We are calculating with the existing corrugation with the PP or something another LED box, LED box. But every time we need to check whether this apple to apple comparison is correct, or we need to check some unlock area. Like the two speakers told that vehicle utilization. We need to check the proper vehicle utilization. We need to check the traceability of the product. Before starting this discussion, I would like to give one example why I come in packaging, because I am the taxation person. Akash explained, updated to you people. But the taxation person, how it is coming in the packaging. One day I got a photograph from one of the customer saying that he's a heap of the wooden waste, and he is saying, who will remove from my premises? Give me answer. And I seen from where it is going. We are loading some clutch part from our Aurangabad plant, and then we are supplying to our customer. When it is unpacked, he is throwing all this unpacked material in their garbage yard. And because of the environment issue, they need to spend sizable amount on this disposal of this unpacked material. So that's why this is the one of the cost we identified that, okay, we are incurring cost for the packaging, and then the customer is throwing this with the cost, and he is asking cost reimbursement for the such disposal of such items. So this is also one of the cost. Then speaker told these general terms. One is the handling damages, reduction in handling damages. When we are supplying painted parts or powder coating parts, this small dent and damage is making the product value zero. Once it is coming back from customer end, we are putting all effort, all value on that product. And with the small dent and damage, somebody was arguing from my team, okay, small damage, what will happen? my CO has updated to this person. If you are going to buy the shop, you are seeing from all angles. If there is small dent on one part, you are not purchasing bike, which is worth around 70,000, 80,000 rupees. So who will purchase your part with the small dent? So that's why this PP solution is a very good solution when we can avoid the dent mark. Then another part of my work area is the warehouse. We are having sizable warehouse across the India. And when we are packing with the traditional packaging, we could not able to utilize this space properly at our manufacturing plant also and warehouse also. So with the standard packaging, we can use stack 1+1, 1+2, or we can use the rack process. And there might be some multiple layer we can load. So that this is a proper stacking is there, traceability is there. We can follow PIPO and trace these moving, non-moving material, take action immediately. This is one of the benefit when we are calculating cost of the any packaging. Then there is some cost which we are not able to identify, such as the warranty returns. At each and every location, like a auto component, they are managing with the customer quality, or they are trying to explain to customer. But if it is coming after the warranty, we need to accept with the heavy penalty cost. This cost, we need to add some portion when we are calculating the cost aspect of the any cost penalization. In second part, I am going to discuss on the sustenance of the project. So whenever packaging project we are taking, and we are asking any service provider to invest on the product, we need to see that the product will be this whatever we are doing the project, it should have 3 years plus life. If we are engaging a service provider, we are creating confidence. He is also investing based on our commitment. And after some time, after 6 months, 1 month, 1 year, or 12, 50, 18 months, we are saying the product design has been changed. So we should not go for such product or the lease packaging or the some modern packaging till the product getting settled with the compatibility with the OEM. We should go with the traditional packing. And once it is settled, and if there is a life is more than 3 years for the product life cycle, then we can go for the packaging. Then apart from the, I'm sitting on this chair, one side of the chair, another is the service provider. Service provider is saying that I'm investing, and they are making contract redundancy clause. When there is something not used or something short-term use, they are asking reimbursement from the service recipient. So okay, when making contract, this is a very good sign. Okay, we are signing with the good pain, and we are saying okay, good second. But when there is a exit time is there, and cost payment is there, there is always a disruption with the service provider also and the recipient also. So although this is this is the emotion of the disruption, but we are wasting the national resources on the temporary use. So we should avoid such things. This is the sustainable product. And I would like to focus on the another part is the operational issues in the lease packaging. Lease packaging is, there are 2-3 questions has come in the question box. How to reconcile? There is always loss from the OEM side, and how we will get this cost reimbursement. I agree with all of my colleagues, what they are saying. I am also facing same problem, but every time we need to make a reconciliation, some periodicity basis. And whenever there is something plus or minus, we should have some clause in our contract so that this plus minus some percentage delta service provider to absorb, and we need to give some price in our cost working, so that this will be win-win situation. Otherwise, if we are expecting all will be handled by service provider, this is not possible. But another side is that this is asset of somebody else invested on our behalf. We need to take care of his asset, and we need to ensure his asset is maintained properly, his asset is utilized properly, and he is also earning some value addition from his investment. Then tracking at customer end. What we requested to our customer, which we are experiencing last 2-3 years, we had requested customer to give us dedicated bay for our product, and customer is keeping on dedicated bay. Sometimes the competition of the packaging supplier, they are taking out each other's material. So this is one pain area which we could not able to solve out. Then handling damages of product also, and the packaging also. If the packaging is not properly corrected before putting a product, then there are high chance of the packaging damage. And in case of damage also, there is a liability for the service recipient that we need to pay the reimbursement to the service provider. So that every time before packaging, we need to check whether this is in good condition or bad condition. This checkpoint we need to establish, which we had established in our plant. One case I seen last month when I was traveling to Chennai, my one colleague said that this is our box in some Tata S. Then we stopped this Tata S vehicle en route, and we found that this is something theft of the my service provider box. Then we connected to service provider, we updated them, and after investigating, we found that the service provider is scrapping his boxes without damaging full. To get the better price, they are selling out this damaged product to somebody else. But this is getting mixed up with the good product and damaged product, and there is very high chance that somebody will take out from the customer end, and this will be case of the theft. Again, it will become a dispute point. One major point I observed that when we are transporting all the goods with the proper vehicle, proper loading, there is always chance of the damage, accident. And in case of accident, I found the insurance company saying that this product is already used life. We are not able to determine life of this product. And they are debating on that 50% life is consumed, 60% life is consumed. And they are always, insurance company, when there is a premium, they are asking higher premium. When there is a payment, they are asking to lesser payout. So this is the, so that our contractual terms should be clear. What should be reimbursed at what time, so that the sustenance of the this packaging contract will be longer period. One big shock we observed, like auto component industry or auto industry last year, because of the pandemic, suddenly volume is getting fluctuated. This is increase or decrease. When there is a decrease, the service provider is getting lose of the business, and when there is increase, we are losing business because of packing material not available. So in that case, we should come forward to both sides, and we need to try to make efficient our reverse logistic, so that there will not be more investment and there will be packaging available at every time. Then change in product specification. Now, as an auto component, we seen that BS4 to BS6, now BS6 to something different. Then now electric vehicle will come. So there are very high chances that the product will get absolute and new product will emerge. So before making investment for the such huge quantity, we need to think for what is the product life cycle, whether it can be reusable. If I am paying some extra amount today, but this should be reusable for multiple products. And key point of the all the success of the lease packaging is the effective reverse logistic. If there is no effective reverse logistic, both sides we are going to lose, and this will not be a workable solution. These are some points which have come from my experience for last 8-10 years in logistics. But definitely the lease packaging is the one of the good initiative in the logistic. This will help to OEMs, auto component manufacturers, to reduce their capex, and they will not invest in their non-core area. This is non-core area for these people, and whatever the core people investing in this, they will invest with the technologies, and they will give more benefit to the industry. This is from my side. Thank you.
Thanks, Atul, for that very comprehensive view. And I liked your topic around the insurance impact on these assets. With this, I hand over to Mr. Jayaprakash, who will talk about CapEx validation and also learning from some of the other industries beyond automotive.
Good evening, everybody. So I am Respondent JK Finner. We are a manufacturer of belt and oil seals. So oil seal is a critical component, so it should be sent in a proper manner. So before that, I thank CIA, and a special thanks to one person. The person doing a job is not a job, he's doing as a craft. So in Chennai, there is a flood, but even though in the Chennai flood, he organized a conference in Delhi without any delay or any issue. And that person is a god of logistics, a Saraswati. arranging a learning for everyone. That is Dr. Bhanumati. Thanks to Dr. Bhanumati once again. Okay, and then regarding that topic, one side TBS supply chain, Mr. Sunil Bandron explained all the equipments, and the other side, Mr. Atul explained what are the practical challenges and what is the solution. So my topic where I can start. So I request Atul, you can release a book so we can get enlightened by your experience and insight. So I will share my, instead of I'm giving a solution, I will share my experience like a slumdog millionaire. For every question, that boy think over the year, what is the experience he had. So in that startup area, I worked in imports. The importance of packaging at the time, one of the instant I learned, we have to import a machinery from Taiwan. So that all the details our CapEx team has given, we have to arrange in here. A open top container. Then we have shared that detail, all we have quoted. Then that freight forwarder come with that, sir, you are doing a mistake. I am surprised. What mistake? I'm not able to understand. Then he told, sir, we are having a solution. There is no need for a open top container. We have went and studied your machine. And there is a machine in that motor in the top. If you remove the motor, so the height will be accommodated in a normal 40 feet IQ container. So this instant made what is the importance of packaging? What is the design, whether it is a CapEx or your parts supplies to the OEMs. And this is one example. And we are importing a rubber from all over the world, mainly on synthetic rubber. So that Sunil Bansal explained about the collapsible pallet and returnable. So one of the suppliers started sending the material in, it is from Japan, he's sending a material to Chennai, and they will, that vendor service provider collecting the material. So the value added service provided the vendor is essential, the total cost. So that's why we have to cover in that. So apart from that, I want to think we are in the field of three verticals. One is that automobile and a replacement market and industrial. So what we are thinking on a cross industries, mainly on whether it is a e-com, wind industries or food industries. So what during the lockdown, my kid want to go to the barbecue. So we at the time we are restricted. So when we see the ad, the barbecue in box, we are excited. So when we ordered, we seen the boxes, it gives that opportunity to think the business angle, so in a different way. So this is the one example. And that Sunil covered on that RFID part. Whenever I go to that decathlon, the only thing I seen is that my mind and see the product RFID. So every product they covered in RFID, the billing system and tracking the inventory. So we are talking about not only packaging, so it will accommodate with a barcode, RFID, now with the latest technology, IoT. So these RFID tags in a decathlon store, it is a global store in many countries. So how they give the visibility of the stocks and then inventory accuracies. So the main point in the comment section also put, and Atul also answered. So when your OEM is asking to change to that conventional packing to the return level packaging, so there is always a cost. Who is going to invest, or if the service provider is going to invest, my transport cost is increasing. So that you check with any consultant and you do the brainstorming, and only the cost viable, then the project will take off. Otherwise, it will get delayed. So and then Girija also talked about that. Not only the cost, we have to look at on the total cost of the ownership in a total a holistic approach here. So the main thing on that cost capex proposal, for example, there is a two thing, whether you are able to use a service provider when there is no need of returnable material you can use. When there is an interplant transfer, it is very nearest to you, so there is no need of service provider. That there is an option whether we have to invest. So at the time we have to propose the investment to the management in a proper way, how much my ROI. So these are my insight I want to share to the team.
Thank you, Jay. So with that, we've had individual perspectives. Now there have been a few, questions posed by the audiences. So I'll just take one of them. One of the big questions is, whenever we do returnables with the OEM, there is some, lost in transit, right? Either it is lost or, it is damaged in return. And the OEMs, oftentimes have challenges in attributing what caused this loss, whether it was the service provider, whether it was handling at the warehouse. How have some of you been dealing with that as auto component suppliers? Ensuring that the life of each of this asset is attained. Any thoughts, Atul, from your perspective?
Yes, sir. First, we need to set the internal system. Like we are saying every time, not we are expecting something changed from outside. First, we need to change in our inside. So what we have done, whatever the asset or whatever the own or loan asset we are procuring for the packaging, we are recording in our system, and we are tracing till the end of our system out, in, out. We are making multiple entries in our system, so that when we are putting reconciliation for the periodical period to the customer, we can able to explain customer that much part we had supplied in this period, I received this much quantity. And we are reconciling on the periodical, like monthly or quarterly basis, so that gap is become narrowing, very less gap, so that customer is also able to support. And sometime we need to address some 1 or 2%, like some handling damage or pilferage or something wear and tear. But if you are not taking periodical action on wear and tear deletion from our system, then it will accumulate, and at the year end, nobody will accept. This is a loss of 20% asset. Every quarter you are reducing 1%, 2%. This will become 4, 5%, and you will be able to trace the problem. Whether this customer is holding some inventory at their inside, or any transporter is holding at his warehouse side, or somewhere miss out in recording. So this reconciliation is very important and key factor for the packaging reconciliation. And we need to first keep track inside in our system or something. And we need to generate document for each moment. This will help to make a reconciliation and accuracy improvement for the product.
Very, very good point, Atul. Another question that we have, Sunil, you're from the logistics sector, so you can take up, this recent increase in sea freights that have happened has caused the logistics cost to, just go up 40%, 50% of the ocean freights have increased. The question is that, is there any view on how to manage, in this environment? In the case of returnables, getting returnable back itself is not making any sense in the case of sea freight.
Yeah, I think generally what's happening, I'll say all this increases are, these are temporary because of the or there is a congestion at one of the port, or there are COVID impacts. So these are tentative. This is like a seasonal in the domestic transportation. We all face that seasons and other impacts in the domestic transportation. Only thing is, in terms of what we talk about, like Mr. Srinivas mentioned in the initial talk about the MOQ. So if we maintain the MOQ and we can have those forecasting norms, or we can forecast it better and we can plan it, definitely those costs can be saved. You cannot do anything about the shipping cost, but the storage space, if you can improve, you can store more inventory and you can order more with respect to the, so that you don't have multiple shipments. That's one part of the cost avoidance that can be taken care of.
Thanks, Sunil. Srinivas, there's one question on, sustainable packaging, and you are into electric vehicles, which is in a way displacing the IC engine. But from an OEM perspective, do you compute what is the due to packaging alone in your product, either incoming or outgoing? What is the carbon footprint that you're leaving, and is that continuously decreasing? Do you do any such tracking?
Yeah, we have a overall in a group. We have a sustainable group is there, and one vertical is there. And every year we have a sustainable audits will be there as a sector wise. If you ask me in Mahindra Electrical, by every year we have a target of 15%. For example, we are using the batteries. The battery is a disposal is a very big challenge for us. For example, from the various dealers and as for our side. So we have identified the disposal agreements, and with we identify the vendors, and that is the one aspect of the batteries. The second aspect is the packaging, the raw material what we are using for the packages. That also we have a sustainable target for 25 to 30%. The most of the 90% of the packaging we are switched out to PP now. Earlier we have a wooden, metal boxes, and this one corrugated boxes. So Mahindra Electrical we switched out to PP boxes. The sustainability, if you say green. And one more thing, if you are asking me, one more question is from the audience, how we are ensuring the OEM returnable packages. So we have an agreement with the supplier. So when we are switched out to the PP, so we made an agreement how many rounds, how many returns we can use for the particular packages. So we made a one tracking sheet on the each box. So every rotation, they'll make a tracking. For example, when we receive over the packing, we'll see what are the damage received from the supplier for the packaging. And when we're returning, we are ensuring we tick it. And the supplier will say, no, there is no damage we received from the OEM. And we integrated with the packing of particular numbers with our invoice number. When we receive so many packages with the invoices, when we return back, in the same day, we'll reconcile in this one.
Oh, that's a very creative idea in terms of tagging and ticking, the acknowledgement on the packing box itself. Thank you, Srinivas.
Yeah, welcome.
Jayaprakash, a question to you. From when you move rubber and elastomers out, you use a lot of plastic films, right, to pack them and move them.
No, I'll tell this. When we supply to the OEMs, so it is specified by that OEM requirement based on the state, whether it is a Karnataka or Maharashtra, whatever that package norms there, that should be there. So, for example, if it is something to Maharashtra, so that plastics norm should be adhered. So we are going for a butter paper kind of packing, and then cotton boxes. So if wherever that cost economical and the need of that customer on returnable packaging, we are going that. So adding to that one point in the previous question, that most of the question is on the returnable packaging from the OEMs. So some OEMs are defining the color of the boxes and specification, all that. If the color and if you have an opportunity, so mention the unique of your company or any unique character, because when you see in the OEM, all will be in blue. So most of the boxes are in blue color. So that you make a differentiate color. So it will give that advantage to your service provider. They can collect easily, one. And the second thing, Atul also told that the entry in your system, we are using that SAP, but there is no standard provision for that, keeping that tracking. We have made some customization because all are standard packing to the OEMs, that MOQ lots. So when I dispatch to the customer, automatically that bin moment, it's more attached to that LR number. So once it's delivered to the customer, so the bin shows it is delivered in my customer place. So this one of the tracking we are making and reconcile.
So I think most of the questions are done. Are there any other perspectives? We have some time. Audience, is there any question you might want to again write it on the chat box? Atul, Srinivas, Sunil, any points from your side that you feel are relevant before we close?
And Mr. Srinivas, everybody talked about different methods, how they are reconciling the assets. I think I showed one dashboard. Now, currently also what we are doing is we are tracking at all the nodes through UIDs and RFIDs, so that there is a daily dashboard available to you at the end of the day, where you can see at customer point or at supplier end or in transit, or whether it has gone for repair or it is damaged and out of loop. The total assets deployed and the total assets wherever it is, that complete tracking can be done, and we are providing to it is provided. We have a IT tool or a software tool. We have come out from the manual thing, and it's available. It can be used, and it has solved a lot of cases, like with learnings from what Mr. Atul, Mr. Jayaprakash, Mr. Srinivasan based. This is a tool which has come from these learnings, so that tool can be crossly deployed and ease the life, and you can discuss and contemplate accordingly, because when you have the visibility, daily basis you can trace whether there is a it is holding for more number of times at a customer place or at a supplier place or at in transit or in logistics. So based on the data, you can take your call. So I just wanted to add and give one perspective on that.
My question to Sunil. Sunil, we discuss on the IoT, then RFID.
Yeah.
Any plan from the packaging solutions provider for the RFID on the packaging? Because this problem will eliminate with this.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There is a tool which is coming up. We have that tool available, and it can be used. We say it track and trace. It's about giving you the visibility throughout the supply chain from end to end, whether it's a customer end node at your warehouse or in transit.
Hey, you are telling about tool for reconciliation. I'm asking for the device for the tracking.
I think Atul, he showed the dashboard where the RFID tag is put, and then on the dashboard it is showing where it is, whether it is
RFID and scanners. You have to do at all the nodes.
Okay, good. But this will give a great help to all people, because this is a big challenge. All people asking same question: how to trace and how to handle this situation.
And Atul, I think the major discipline part which needs to be maintained here is the scanning process at all the nodes. If you create 4 nodes, or you create 2 nodes, or you create 3 nodes, nothing should miss there. If anything goes missing, so, the IT discipline is one of the things.
Thank you.
okay. So I think we are about the closing time. So I would like to take this opportunity once again to thank all of you for your time and provide very, very valuable inputs. And this area is just beginning to grow. Sustainable packaging will be becoming a must-have. It is now, somehow it is becoming secondary because of cost implications, etc. But as companies try to drive net zero, this will become a must-have. And a lot of this, what we are saying is costs is not, feasible, etc. We will get into compliance issues if we don't have some of these things in the future. With that, I hand over to Dr. Bhanumati for closing comments.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you so much for a wonderful moderation and setting the context. I thank all the panelists for a wonderful discussion, and I will be really failing in my duty if I don't thank the audience, because they made a wonderful question, and then several things came out of the panelists also in addition to our discussion. So thank you so much. And CII also understood there are several more important things in the packaging aspect, and then we'll try to add on more onto this series. Thank you so much. Thanks to Girija and all the other speakers. Thank you, Akash. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.